This is a Skycrane. Its job is to lift stuff. And yes, it looks a bit surreal. Sadly, they are rather expensive. That's why I build my own. It's not quite the same, but it shares some important character traits like looking surreal and lifting stuff. But let me skip back a bit. When I was recently flying FPV quads with some friends, one of us crashed on a hard-to-reach bando roof. He tried his best using crash flip, but it was of no use. The quad was stuck up there. We then put some rope on a other FPV drone and tried to rescue the stranded copter. Due to not having a downwards-facing cam, this was like trying to find something in a dark room without feeling your hands. With the help of a spotter drone, we then managed to locate the drone. After navigating the hook, or in this case a net, to the stranded drone, another problem arose. The net was now tangled with the drone, and the drone was tangled with a lightning rod fixture on the roof. This left us with a dilemma. We still had a drone in the air that now was tethered to the roof with a rope that was shorter than the height of the building, meaning we now had two stranded drones. It was a sad day, and we had lost two drones, at least for a few days, till someone with better climbing skills than us got him back for us. That day, the idea for a dedicated rescue drone was born. It would need a few things that aren't common on FPV drones, like position hold, for example, would be nice. Also, a downward-facing camera to actually see what you're trying to rescue. And to avoid losing the rescue drone if something tangles, we need a release hook for the rope. Position hold could be archived by adding a GPS to the drone, in this case on a wooden boom, far away from any EM noise from the motor drivers. The GPS wiring is warped and grounded shielding. If this really makes sense is debated, but too much shielding never hurt anyone. To avoid long wake-up and satellite gathering times for the GPS, I build in a GPS saver. It can power the GPS without needing the whole quad to be powered up. It also keeps the GPS powered up during battery changes, so it doesn't need to regather satellites. First of all, check out this overcomplicated way to heavy servo camera mount. This allows us to look downward. This is a 12-gram digital servo with metal gearing, and I recommend using something like this and don't cheap out on the servo. I tried those cheap plastic geared servos, and they had massive problems holding the cam angle, resulting into jiggling picture. The servo in this case also has another function. It serves as the emergency release for the rescue line. I wanted to use a dedicated servo mechanism for that, but the problem is that the flight controller in this only has a limited amount of PWM-capable outputs. I know this isn't a perfect solution, but it's the only thing I could do without going into the INAV source code for this flight controller and recompiling the whole thing. On the point of INAV, oh boy, there was a learning curve, from getting used to a new way to reverse prop direction to realizing there is no resource remapping in command line. The upside is that this build now also can do things like waypoint mission. Dunno, maybe that helps finding a quad if you lose one in a field and you're not sure where, so you can program the drone to fly a pattern over the search area. To make the whole thing work, hardware-wise, I also added a step-down converter to provide enough 5 volts so the whole FC doesn't shut down when I move the servo. Not like that ever happened during testing. And since I had a little space left, I also added onboard recording so you can record your best rescue missions without the noise of a video signal. That was the Skycrane. In theory, if you want. Oh, see, in praxis, leave me a sub, and the algorithm will let you know when I crashed the Skycrane in a rescue attempt.